Hello and welcome to the Relationship Breakthrough Show from Aligned with Love. I'm Matt.
And I am Rebecca. This is the place for people to have a magical, loving, intimate relationship.
Thanks for joining us. Now let's get started.
Nicola is a life transformation specialist and the UK's leading low carbohydrate and ketogenic lifestyle expert since 1999. She helps women over 40 struggling with low energy, brain fog, changing levels of belly fat, and other perimenopausal symptoms to regain clarity, mentality, and vitality, and be at their very best. All this without any fussing about calories, macros, or starving themselves by using the award-winning HOPE protocol of eating tasty whole food and shifting their attitudes to life. I can't wait to know more about this, Nicola. I'm excited. It sounds very interesting, this winning HOPE protocol.
Well, in terms of that, the acronym stands for Healthy, Optimal, Purposeful Eating. But as you and I know, the food is the easy part. It really, really goes down to developing that relationship of self-care and self-love with yourself. Because, of course, if you don't have that with yourself, you're not going to have that with any other people, which is where we have that synergy, I feel.
That's right, exactly. I love that's, by the way, my favorite topic. So let's dive in. What's your story? First of all, I would love what's your story, how you ended up doing what you do now, and yeah, tell us about you.
Way back in 1999, when I was very, very large and had tried every single diet going, all the low calorie, all the deprivation, all the whatever, and I'd basically just given up and accepted I'm going to be fat for my life. I don't care. My hips hurt. My waist was 55, 60 inches big. I was not at all healthful. I was like dragging myself through the day, low energy, and literally just didn't care about myself. A chap at work handed me a copy of Dr. Atkins' New Diet Revolution and said, I think this will help you. We'd been talking for a little while and he'd tried it. He thought it was great. I read the book and went, this makes scientific, logical sense. And I love steak. I'm going to give it a go. So I did, and it changed my world. But at that point, I did it all from I'm on a diet. As I say, at that point in my life, I was 29 when I started. 6th of December 1999. I just turned 29. And I still didn't really care about myself. I wasn't loving myself at all. I did it all from the perspective of I'm on a diet, and that was it. So I had no mental, emotional resilience whatsoever. I was still very influenced by whatever was going on. So I did that for 3 years at that point. I had success, but there was at one point where I was strongly kidding myself with, oh, if I eat this, it won't do me that much. It's only just the one, all that standard diet culture mantra of a little bit won't hurt you. And over time, I'd started to, all the other things were pretty solid still, but I was working shifts at work. Lots of disturbance in my home life. My dating life was a bit of a car wreck at that point. And it basically, when I then went under medical investigation because I was tired, my doctor looked at me and said, oh, you've got a large thyroid, which apparently I can't see it myself. I don't know what to look for, but apparently my whole family, my granddad's side has a larger thyroid. So he sent me off for a whole bunch of investigation. And out of the back of that, I effectively got diagnosed with endometriosis. Various twists that are too long to go into here. I got given a medical menopause at the age of 32, which was basically 3 months of drugs. I literally went batshit crazy, and I had no other recourse to try and sort my brain out than to start effectively self-medicating with sugar and any form of potatoes I could get my hand on. Because, of course, sugar is euphoric. It calms you down and lifts you up for about 10 minutes.
Yes.
Which, of course, meant all of the work I'd done at that point to lose all of the weight, it all came back with a couple of stone to help to keep it company. I ended up then in what I look back on now, clinical depression for at least, it's got to be 5 or 6 years. I didn't seek help. I didn't know that that was a wrong. I didn't know what was going on was right or wrong or whatever. I just dealt. I was deep in the well of this is making me feel better, even though I'm tired. I was sleeping like at the weekend 14 hours a day and still waking up shattered. All the
Yes.
sorts of things that I now look back on and go, wow, I really accepted that. Again, because I didn't really have resilience. I didn't have that self-love. I just accepted this was life
Yeah,
now.
that's
And
right.
eventually the fog started to clear. And I remember that the consultant at that point said, if your periods do not normalize, because I didn't have a period for a year and then I had a year-long period, which was another reason why I wasn't loving myself, go and get yourself an IUD. Because that, of course, then that puts hormones in your womb. I stopped bleeding. My fog started to clear. And I then had I need to get my diet sorted again. Because remembering before, of course, I felt better. And that time at work, we'd started to do things like coaching and what's called hierarchy, where everybody's opinion has credit rather than top-down management. And so work was putting us through that whole bunch of this is how you coach, facilitate, negotiate. This is how a hierarchy works. And so I was looking at those systems and going, how can I apply that to my life and make this a success? And that's the roots back in sort of 2010 where the Hope Protocol started to germinate.
Yes.
A few more years womble by. 2016 is when I really solidified that and realized, yeah, I can help other people with these structures I've created for myself around not just the food, as I say, the food is the easy part, but also around resilience, emotional intelligence. My own coaching journey was taking a ramp up at that point, and it's like, yeah, I can help people with
That's
falling back in
right.
love with themselves, eating healthily, optimally, and purposefully so that they become awesome humans. And
That,
that's
that's
where I am right now. So I'm as I say, I because I'm now 53, it's an obvious sort of move for me to go away from general weight loss, which are terrible words, into helping people that are my age and that sort of a little bit younger, that perimenopausal window, to start realizing that, yeah, all these aches and pains and brain fog and brains are not normal. Humans did not evolve with this, otherwise we'd have never survived. And it's
that's
all
right.
down to the environment we live in right now. When we start to change our environment, make more healthy choices because we value ourselves, our worlds change.
That's interesting. Nicola, I love it, and I love your passion because, I mean, as a therapist, I know that the mind doesn't like to lose.
No.
We will do anything to not to lose rather than to gain something that we want. So if you're focusing on weight loss, it's gonna be challenging to lose even the weight
Exactly.
that you don't like.
Exactly. This is
Your
what
attitude is
key
more,
six.
more yeah. So you've changed the meaning basically.
Yeah.
Actually, I focus on loving myself
Mm,
rather than losing weight, which actually causes you to sabotage yourself by putting shit in your in your body.
absolutely. Key six is in the protocol. I've got 10 keys. Sorry, 9 shifts to shift you over to low carb way of eating, 10 keys to unlock your mind, the 3 secrets that guarantee your success. Key six is all about those words, weight loss. They are completely unhelpful. They're again, we know this from coaching. If you ask your mind better questions, you get better answers. Weight is non-specific. We want to only get rid of our body fat. We want to be gaining muscle, bone density. We want to keep our organs and our brains vital and healthy. And of course,
Totally.
blood and the contents of your stomach and your bowels, that changes day to day. So this whole concept of weight is rubbish. And then, as you say, that word loss and lose, it's always sad. And after my mum passed, I've gained a deeper appreciation of I want
Imagine.
to find her again, which is what lose means. Lose has that implied, oh God, where have I put my keys? I need to find them. Oh my God, I've lost that 20 quid. Oh, is it down the back of the... We want to find it. We are constantly hunting for the things we lose.
Yeah,
So when
that's
we're
right.
applying that to the thing in our body that is not helpful, our body fat, it's again not helpful. So ditching, burning, dropping, removing, getting rid of, empowering language shedding my inches. I really like that was my personal one. I'm shedding my inches, away they're going. And so allowing my clients to move their language towards things that actually are going to empower them rather than things that are depressing and sad and non-specific. It's a really daft thing that a lot of them resist, but once they see it, it's like, oh yeah, I see that, and then they get success in all other ways as well.
I love it. Well done. I love it. And to be honest, we met a while ago, and I definitely noticed that you've changed. I don't know what you've done, but there has been a change. It was a lot of years ago when I saw you the last time. It was in the underground, and then when I saw you this last time around, I told Matt, this is not the same Nicola that I met. Yes, I want to know more. How do you help your clients to maintain? So now we're not talking about losing weight or having the body that you like, but actually maintain it. Because one thing is to get there, but the other thing is to keep it, like the relationship, attract your dream partner and then keep it.
Well,
So
that's what
how
I
do you
think.
help them?
This is all leaning into the keys and the secrets. As I say, the shifts, the food, 6 weeks, you're done. Yeah. The work and the art is all between our ears. This 6.5 pound of wiggly grey matter between our ears. If we are fighting against ourselves and listening, I call it the gribbity little toad. You are fat, you are lazy, you are not worthy, you're not good enough,
That's
you're not
right.
beautiful, you're not sexy. All
Yeah.
this yammer, yammer, yammer. Acknowledging that that is not ourselves. That is trying to protect us. And it is what it is, and it will always say the same things. So acknowledging these things, I take my clients through that journey of it's always going to kick off when it thinks you're doing things it doesn't like. But you, as a divine being connected to everything through all time and space, you have the power of choice. And so, again, some people take to that a lot more better than others. But it's always supporting my clients towards making their own choices, being empowered. And if you make a non-optimal choice, because I say, I don't, bad and good, again, they're not very helpful, they're emotional. Whereas if you're making a non-optimal choice, it's not healthy for you. Well, yeah, you've made that choice. You have decided in that moment, I am going to do this. I'm going to accept the consequences of that action, that one action, and then I'm going to carry on being optimal. And that puts us in the power rather than the food. The food has so much power over us as humans, it's unreal, because we've given it. The diet industry has a vested interest in giving the food to other things, or giving the power to other things, external things, rather than having us as internally powerful individuals that love ourselves, respect ourselves, care for ourselves, I'll feel that we're worthy. All these things that are the enemy of marketing that need fixing. So my aim is effectively to produce at the end of working with someone initially that sense of empowerment, and that my clients never need to continue to work with me, but a lot of them want to continue, and that's fantastic. And then of course we then go on a different journey that then helps them maintain where they are by communities, or in group coaching, or more one-to-one, or whatever they choose, whatever is right for them as the empowered choice they make.
Wow, this all sounds really nice, but I'm gonna challenge you, Nicola.
Okay.
What would you tell me? What do I need to do if I have a healthy diet, which I have, I believe, maybe you want to review it, and I am in Cardiff Center in the market, and in front of me I got a yummy cake, and it's not part of my diet. And I feel like I want to eat it, I want to taste it, I want to feel it. And I've had a crappy day. Or let's say I got my period and I don't feel good or anything else. And I'm battling, I'm having an internal war between the cake. Shall I buy the cake? Shall I just keep my diet? I want to be loyal to myself. I don't want to put crap in my body. But look at the cake and I don't feel good. Let's just get the short-term gratification. How can I ever possibly focus on the long-term gain if I got this yummy cake here in front of me? What would you tell me?
Well, that is a whole right now. in that moment, if you want to make that choice, make that choice. But know that that is going to give you more cravings. You're probably going to beat yourself up about it. You're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel shameful right now because you haven't done the supportive structures work. Life is all about structures. And if you haven't got the supportive structures that say that that jammy cake is not a treat, it's poison, literally, the way that sugar is processed through the body is the same way that it gets processed. Half of it gets processed through the liver via what's called the JNK1 pathway. That is toxic elimination. The other half gets turned into glucose, which can be used in every single cell in our bodies. Glucose is vital for life, but that cake is not. And so what is that cake? I always say to my clients, what is that cake representing to you? There are the thing, we have patterns in our head, like the shape of our plate, what reward is, what comforts is, what treats are, how love is represented. This stuff goes in deep. How did my big people love on me? Did they give me sweets? Did they give me cakes? Or did we maybe go out, or did we do other things? And it's all about looking at those models and going, well, how does that model serve me? And how is it actually then serving my small people? If you're a parent, am I loving on my small people the same way that my big people loved on me? And so am I then giving them the same issues that I've now got? And some parents are more comfortable with that bit of confrontation than not. All these things, this is the whole thing about this takes time. I would treat someone that come towards me right now with, as I say, if you want the cake, it's your choice. It's not going to support your health long term. But right now, you don't have the resilience to decide to make another choice. But you always have the choice. As you then work through the keys and you start to see that you have that choice and you can make another choice, the voice in your head is not you. That blows people's brains a lot. The voice in your head that you believe is telling you to do what you need to do, it's not you. You can go, well, yeah, no, that cake is not going to serve my long-term goal of fitting in that bikini in 7 days' time. I won't make that choice. Instead, I'm going to go and buy myself a bunch of flowers. Or I'm going to go home and have a bubble bath. Or I'm going to go home and cook a nutritious meal for myself. Or I'm going to go and buy a ready meal that I could look at the back and go, well, I could make that myself. And it tastes amazing, so I'm going to go and buy it. There are other things you can do both in the very, like when you're first starting and longer term. It's now not even an option. And I've been doing this for 20 odd years. So for me, that's not a treat. That's just a jammy donut. It's not worth it. Other things light my fire when I want to treat myself. And it's about, again, that shift.
What I'm hearing, Nicola, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're bringing logic to my emotion. Because I want to eat the cake means to me I'm emotional. I can't even think to make a choice.
Yeah.
But you're bringing logic. So yeah, that sounds good.
It's
I don't know if
marrying
I
the
will
two
be strong
halves of the
enough.
brain. The half of the brain that is logical and the half that is emotional. We will all, we're humans. We will make choices emotionally and then use logic to back those up. If the logic isn't there to back up that emotional choice, we won't make it.
What happens if the emotion is there?
If the emotion is there and the logic backs it up, then we will make that choice. And it is as simple as. So it's then about understanding that logically that piece of cake won't serve you long term, will detriment your body, will give you cravings, will take away vitamins and minerals from your body. There's a whole bunch of logic that says this is not an optimal choice. And if you still want to make the cake choice, then you make the cake choice. But you don't beat yourself up about it. You own the fact you made the choice and then you move on.
I love your approach because it will make me very sad to feel that I've sabotaged myself since I want to be my best friend.
It's not about sabotage at all. If you make that choice, you as an empowered adult make that choice. That's it. It's all just about life and choices. There's no bad, there's no naughty, there's no sinful. Oh my God, I hate that bit of phrasing from one of the big diet industry people. It is just you living your life, making the best choices you can in that moment in time. And sometimes we're human. We don't make our most optimal choices. But that doesn't need to colour the rest of the month, the rest of the year, the rest of our lives. It's just a choice in time. and it's over and done.
What happens if the next week I want to eat another cake?
If you do, you
And
do.
to
But
call
then,
you.
but you then accept the consequences of a non-optimal body, non-optimal health. That's your choice. If you want that, go for it.
That's right. I love that concept, natural consequences. So how would you help people, which is very important this for me and for my audience, to rebuild their relationship with themselves?
Again, this is all work of the keys. So when I'm working with people or in my books, it's all about learning. As I said, we are not our thoughts. There's a concept in psychology called detached observer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even got a fancy name, metacognition. So we can look at these little messages that we've been given from our big people, from society, from advertising, and we have the ability to analyze that critically, which again is a concept we are losing as humanity. We're losing the ability to think critically and objectively about things because of the way society is going. I could get very political. I'm not going to. But in terms of that, so teaching you how to look at your own thoughts, and then that one guiding principle: does that thought serve me? If it serves me, great, let's do that. If it doesn't serve me, it can get in the bin, and I can choose to do something else. And that is really the guiding principle of everything. It's a very, when I bumped into one of my mentors, right, the very first thing he said was, focus on what you want. I have spent a lot of money getting all the layers on focus on what you want, because it's a really simple thing to say, but it's a very deep rabbit hole to go down and live your life in. When we focus on what we want as humans, with these brains, we can achieve anything what we desire, because we can. Everything that is created was in somebody's brain. Somebody thought about, oh yeah, I need a fork to eat my dinner to stop my fingers getting dirty. I need a car to move around. I need a mobile phone to be able to connect to the. All these things were once thoughts in people's heads. They did not exist before we thought about it. So when we realize that we are all powerful and whatever we think can manifest into reality, why would we not want to manifest health, joy, creativity, love, and all the things that are I believe our destiny, but our is desperately protecting us from. And you have to love it. You have to love it. But
I like that.
But yeah,
Yes.
it's the biggest cosmic joke that it sits in the back of our brains, holding us all back.
I love that, Nicola. You have to love that inner critic voice because it's trying to protect us. And when people normally resist that voice, then they have more of the same, which is not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So, what does well-being through personal empowerment mean to you?
I think I've got on that soapbox already. It is literally, we cannot be whole, integral humans without being empowered, I believe. There are a lot of mechanisms in society, the world, our culture, that try to disempower us as individual humans. I love the power of collectives and the power of groups. And I also believe that the buck stops with me. I am in charge of what I do with my life. No one else is in charge of that. The only person that can make those choices is me. And the structures I've then built around myself empower me to step into that. Competence breeds confidence. So when we are competent in acknowledging that we are wonderful, amazing things that can create anything and make wonderful, amazing choices that bring about so much joy, love, creativity, vitality in life and the world, then we have the confidence to also live that. And I think I am talking a lot of effectively the most enlightened stuff. As you start these sorts of journeys, you can never even imagine that you could do that. So the wellness there is to just simply think, well, yeah, I'm taking charge. I've made this choice. I'm going to do this, whatever happens. Because a lot of us fear failure. Oh yeah, it'll just be the same as it was last time. I'll just do it for 10 weeks and then I'll go back to the way I was, and that'll be that. because again, programming, societal messaging, and it's that whole. But yeah, right now you've made that choice. Let's make that choice the best you can make it. One mouthful at a time, one moment at a time, one decision at a time. And all that then compounds to amazing. And hopefully just shifts you enough to keep going towards amazing.
I love it. What I'm hearing is that it's a journey. It's not going to happen overnight.
No.
And we make mistakes. We may make mistakes, but we need to just allow ourselves to mess up and keep going.
Completely. Like, we're humans. We are not perfect. Only deity of choice is perfect. So we have to accept the fact that we are not, and we are going to make mistakes, mess up, sometimes in small ways, sometimes in imaginarily huge ways. But even through all that, you're still here, and it's still, I am an amazing, wonderful being in this body that was given to me as a vehicle for this experience. And I was not put here to be sad, miserable, and have a crappy, yucky, blech existence. I'm put here to just be joyful. Everybody is.
I love what you just said. Your vehicle. We need to look after our vehicle, otherwise we cannot do the things that we like.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I personally think, again, key 4 terrifies lots of people. It's what I call taking a love bath. You go in and you praise this vehicle. Now, how rebellious is that to actually give your hands, your feet, your face, your arms, your feet, your legs, your body, your tummy? How scary and confrontational is that to actually say, I love you, you're amazing, I'm here and I'm in you. Hands, you write things and you cuddle things and you pick things up and you give so much wonderfulness. And feet, you take me everywhere. And tummy, yes, I know you're a bit bigger than I really want you to be, but you're there and you're soft and you're comfortable, and it's okay. And accept, even if you can't love it sometimes, accepting the fact that, yeah, right now, this is where I am. That is a massive confrontation for a lot of my clients. And I give it to people quite early and say, you're probably not ready for this, but this is this concept. Just start small. Wash your hands. Tell your hands that they're good. Wash your hands. Under the tap, all good. And then as you go and you start opening up and unlocking, you can then see the more value in, well, yeah, let's just give that to the rest of myself. Because this is a miracle of organic engineering, mechanics, however it got here, whatever your belief system, it's amazing. And how on earth did we get fingers that can do this, and opposable thumbs, and the accident of genetics or evolution or whatever you choose that got us here in this amazing vehicle that there's only one of a kind of? How can we not love it?
I love it, Nicola, and it's so true. Once 13 years ago, when I first came to the UK, I had a cleaning job in a hostel, and I could not even open and close my hands because I was cleaning so much all the time. And you don't really realize how abundant and healthy you are, and the amazing body that we have until we lose it or it's not working.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I also love this confrontation that you're talking about when you tell your clients to love their body. When I tell my clients to look at themselves in the mirror and tell themselves, I love you, they can make it. But then I tell them, how about I'm trying to love you? And that they find it a little bit easier. You need to start by somewhere.
It's a big thing around again, this is the whole, people that don't love themselves can be fixed by things that they can buy. I am very cynical in that respect. So it's a rebellious act. Self-love is totally and utterly rebellious in the society we live in. And yet I think it is the way to be content. And then loving your body, and then loving your mind, and loving the spirit, and then the connection between the three of those things. And there's a mind-body can disconnect because they don't talk the same language. So it's being able to listen to the language of your body. It talks in sensations, pain, pleasure, hunger, cold, hot. It's not telling you words. Your mind is interpreting. It's like, oh God, I'm hungry and I'm tired, is what your body will say. And then the mind, the grumpy little toe will go, oh, hungry and tired. That means I must need some sugar and some chocolate. Go and find some. It's in the shop down the corner. That all comes from the mind. So that, again, that message of, I'm tired, I need to go and get a sugar fix. We can look at that message and go, well, is that actually valid? Is that truth? The truth is my body is telling me I'm tired. Actually, probably need to rest or sleep or eat something nutritious, not some sugar that will just lift me up for 30 seconds and then I'll feel like crap again later.
Totally, even worse. Yes, that's right.
And again, learning that this is filtering what your body is telling you is a vital thing.
I love this conversation because, in relationships, people, we often see people who are not in the best shape, to be honest. And if they only improved their diet, as you say, and not to talk about the relationship with themselves, which is actually the bottom line, the relationship would be so much better. What energy can we give to our partners if we don't have it for ourselves? Not to talk about the children, and not to mention sex. How can we even have sex with our partners if we're not even able to look at ourselves in the mirror naked?
Yeah, it's definitely when I go into my premium, my 90-day revive and transform program, we dig into all sorts of things like that. I often talk to my clients about the love languages. How do I love? How am I in liking loving? Like the words, the touch, gifts, whatever. You can tell the ones I don't remember because I don't remember because they're not my love languages. But understanding the way you want to be loved. Well, yeah, okay. So how I'd like people to do that to me. So let's do that to me as well. I want to tell myself, if I'm a words person, you're awesome. Or buy yourself a gift of a bunch of flowers. I want to buy myself a gift.
I love
And
it,
so it's using that same thing externally and bringing yourself as a whole, integral, happy person to a relationship, not expecting someone else to fix you. And again, really digging into those sorts of things when I go really deep with clients.
I love it. This reminds me of when I was living in London, again, by myself, alone. And I was buying myself Christmas cards, birthday cards, some Valentine's cards. And I was working on manifesting my dream partner, which you don't know, but that was Matt. That happened to be Matt. So that's really nice. Yes. And yeah, I want to ask you, what are the main challenges that your clients come to you for help? What are their main challenges?
A lot of my clients come to me with some form of chronic illness. So I've got clients, past and present, thyroid, diabetes, liver issues, glaucoma issues, all those things that, again, are very diet structurally based because it's all metabolic illness. And also, as I say, those women that are hitting that, oh God, my body is changing. I've not changed a thing I'm doing, and yet I am getting broader. Is where those, so the main challenge is then, the challenge is honestly getting people to accept themselves as they are sometimes. There's a concept called radical acceptance. Lord of the Rings, Frodo does this really well, where first of all he tries to give the ring to he tries to hide the ring, then he tries to give it to Gandalf, and then finally, what must I do? He accepts the burden. And so, some of these things are, unfortunately, we get dealt a bum hand and we have to deal with the things that we deal with. But we can still love ourselves even though if we've got a bum hand, and we can still radically accept what's going on and also work to excel. And so again, a lot of the challenges of that is this thing about you can either be a victim or you can be empowered. So the main challenge is a lot of people are not going to come towards me because I'm going to challenge their victimhood. And honestly, that's fine. I'm not their guru. But when people are ready to step up and start thinking, yeah, I know I need to make a change, keep doing the same things are happening, and then working through those challenges of effectively dropping victimhood, picking up empowerment, love, joy, and again, then stopping listening to the things that want to keep us in victimhood. Those are the biggest challenges. It's, as I say, it's not to do with the food. The food is the easy part. It really is. The challenge is then, what is it? Jack Sparrow quote: "The problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude to the problem."
I love it. Definitely. Totally. Yes, that's right. I love it. Well said. So self-acceptance is the key, basically accepting ourselves. It's so interesting because, so many people come to us. They don't say this directly, but what they say basically is they want us to fix their partner.
Yeah.
But if they're not accepting themselves, they can't even accept their partners.
Yeah, I would imagine a lot of the clients you deal with, as you say, they're wanting you, they're telling you this list of problems about the person they're with. But again, one of the things our brains are really good at doing is lying to ourselves, because the things that they're complaining about are normally things that we do ourselves, or they're buttons that someone else has stuck in our psyche that they are then pushing. But unfortunately, what we do, sometimes we attract the things that we don't actually want because of past messaging, and there's a whole nother podcast in that whole section.
Definitely, Nicola.
So I think both of us, it's unknotting those little messages that make us attracted to the things that are not healthy for us, and that fixing ourselves first will make everything easier and better. But most people then just don't want to do the work. That's the real challenge. I think most people don't realize that there's work on themselves they need to do. And so the people that are trying to find the solutions are open to that possibility. Most of the world isn't. And that in itself is a big challenge for anyone working in this type of space.
That's right, Nicola. And personally, I think maybe there is a small number of people who don't know that they need to do the work. I personally believe that most of the people do not want to know, but they do know that they are the ones that they need to do the work. It's hard. They are in denial, but they deep down they know. They just don't want to open Pandora's box because they are afraid of feeling their feelings and the natural consequences that those feelings may bring them. It's mind blowing, really. What would you say to someone who come to you and say that it's hard for them to lose weight because their life is crap, their body doesn't look good because they had a very traumatic childhood, or because their ex-partner messed up with them for life, or because their children are very naughty and very challenging, or because this person or the other person. What would you tell them?
I would tell them with love that they've just given me a bunch of excuses. You can either have excuses or reasons. And right now, your excuses are louder and more valid to you than your reasons. The work we would need to do was to give you reasons that make your excuses not a valid reason to stay the way you are. Are you ready to do that?
I love that. Yes, excuses or reasons. I normally say excuses or results.
Yeah.
And also, you said before, your attitude to the problem. It's not the problem, it's your attitude towards the problem.
The fact that your children give you help, yes, that's hard. That depletes your energy, that drains the whole thing. And there will also be financial resources and whatever, which then makes budgeting for other things. So what could we do? What is it? One of my favorite questions is, what's the one thing you can do to make everything else easier or irrelevant? It's one of my favorite coaching questions, because you don't have to, again, one of the things we're trained to do as humans in society is we need everything now, and it needs to be huge and impressive, and it needs to move the needle massively. But that's not how things get done. Things get done in small, tiny, little incremental Kaizen, the principle of continual improvement. Things get done with one change. Does that work? Yes. Another change. Yes, that works. No, that didn't work. Let's not do that. Okay, let's try something else. Oh, that's working. Okay, do this and that. What's one other thing? What's the next thing? And then eventually life moves. It's all about, it's not about whomp straight away, radical shift. It's about small continual improvement over time, getting better and better and better. And sometimes messing up, taking a back step, not beating you up for the fact that you made a choice that didn't work out, just saying, oh, I learned how that doesn't work. And then just shifting and moving on again. Self-forgiveness, it all comes back to the ability to be able to forgive yourself. How again, another thing society gives us is you must never make a mistake. Fear of failure is huge. And yet it's how we learn. When you watch a toddler learning to toddle, when you watch a baby learning to crawl and then learning to walk, we don't say to the baby, oh yeah, you gave that walking a try and I saw you sort of wobbling around and you fell over loads, so don't worry about it, it's fine. You failed, it's okay, so don't do that. Because how we learn is by failing and failing and failing until we figure out the way it actually works.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, you'd never tell a baby to give up learning how to walk, ever. Yet we do it to ourselves all the time. Oh yeah, I can't do that, I'll fail.
Yeah, yeah. I'm having a light bulb right now, Nicola, when our clients come to us, I often tell them, if you don't love yourself, why would your partner love you? Why would he love you? Whoa. And now I'm thinking, if we don't love our bodies, if we don't treat our bodies with loving care, why would our bodies support us, support our life?
Yeah.
Then they get sick, our body gets sick, and then we complain about our body. But how are we treating our body?
Yeah, we give, as a society, we give this vehicle that we've all been given so much crap. We treat it so badly. We put it in clothes that don't fit right. We stick it in shoes that hurt our feet. We stand on our feet without moving, because of course the thing we evolved to do is move distances. We walked so far every day to find and hunt and gather. We ran away from predators and we lifted heavy things, and we don't really do any of those in this modern world. We sit at a desk and we tap our fingers away, and then we get up, we go home on a train, and then we sit on our asses and we watch the telly. We are not moving as this dynamic engine evolved to move, and we aren't. And then of course we're then hating it for the mistreatment we're giving it, which of course is all unconscious. We don't realize that. A lot of the things I say to people is around, some of the things you've done are just what they are. You didn't know any better. Now you do.
Yes.
You have the choice to then make a change or not.
Yes.
It's your choice.
That's right.
But what
Yeah.
you did in the
Once you know-
past is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. You didn't know any better. Forgive yourself and move on.
That's right. Yeah. Once you know, and your consciousness is telling you right now, natural consequences. What's gonna be your choice?
And again, people will then choose to ignore it or not, because again, some of these things, as you said, the trauma stuff is big. Some of this stuff where we're helping people to start processing things and feelings that they've never even given themselves permission. I had a client recently where they were saying, I don't get emotional about food. And they actually went on Facebook and asked their mates and said, do you get emotional about food? And then this massive list of people getting really emotional. And they come back to me and said, oh, am I a bit weird? And I said, no, it's just you've either not allowed yourself to process that, or you're framing it in a different way. Let's dig in. So then we did a little bit of work, and it was the way that they're framing the food is they've obviously had quite healthy models in the fact that it's more about fuel. Sometimes it's about pleasure. It wasn't about reward for them. So they had a whole bunch of very positive messaging already. But then they had some other stuff that was sort of tacked on the side, where they were not acknowledging that, oh yeah, no, I do actually go and do that when I'm stressed. There you go. You have a feeling, you just hadn't recognized it. So sometimes we need to dig in and actually find out what's the base motivation.
That's right. Yes, exactly. The best motivation. Yeah, because not the same thing motivates everybody. Exactly. When I started to do this business, yeah, some business coaches were telling me, just think of the money, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, well, actually, I'm not really motivated by money, really. Maybe I should, but I don't. And then I started to think of my mom and I don't know, people being happy with the parents or the children. And that was different.
Well, money is essentially energy, and again, this is the food we eat is energy. The people we have in our lives are energy. Money isn't energy. It's everything. Everything is all electrons and quantum, as far as I'm concerned. And it's that whole. If you money is life lubrication. It doesn't make you happy, but it sure helps. But that's the
Definitely.
same with love. That's the same with joy. It these things are just energies that we're in, and when we are not accepting energy in one form, I don't want to accept money for whatever reasons. Money is bad, money is wrong, money is for greedy people. There's a whole bunch of stuff around money beliefs that are actually pretty much the same as self-love beliefs and food beliefs and all these other beliefs. So once you start pecking away at one area of life, you normally will stray or move into others, because how we do everything, how we do anything is how we do everything. So
They
it's
say
that whole, well, the
so.
fact that I believe this about money is actually reflecting on this, how I'm treating myself. I had one client where they wouldn't spend money on themselves at all. And it was that whole, well, how are you going to then feed yourself properly? How are you going to clothe yourself in ways that are comfortable? How are you going to, and oh, well, yeah, if I want to do this, I need to do that. So I need to spend money. Oh, poof. And it's
That's
that whole
right.
the dissolving linked chains where they effectively they didn't have the value on themselves, so they wouldn't spend money on themselves.
Hmm.
And again, so that's a form of effectively a form of self-hate, because they had the
Hmm.
chain that they believed that they couldn't spend money on themselves because of whatever reasons they had at that time. Which we then brought out into rational light of day and said, well, is that valid? Does that serve you? Not really. Okay, how can we put structures in place to support you changing that then? And then
That's
we
right.
went forward, they changed that, and then they became healthier. Simple as.
Yes, that's right. We definitely need structures, Nicola, otherwise we're gonna flow sometimes way too much.
Absolutely.
If you could tell the world one thing to move people quickly into joy
Mm.
and peace, what would you say?
That's a do one thing every day that brings you joy. Even if it's a tiny little thing, just do one thing every day that gives you that little bit of joy and contentment. And then it just grows. You can't not be joyful if you haven't, if you exclude it, you can't feel it. So just let it in a little bit, a little chink, and then it will grow.
I love it. Can I ask you what's your thing?
My
What's your thing? What's one thing that you do every day?
my one thing I do every day. Oh gosh. I have several. I love
That's
cooking.
right.
I love cooking is almost a meditation for me. I really
Mm-hmm.
enjoy putting together things, making it savory or whatever. So I have the joy of feeding myself nourishing food. Um, I enjoy a little bit of gaming. So I play Civilization 6 occasionally, or I watch other people on YouTube playing Civilization 6. Taking the time to read a book. I live opposite the greenest of parks, so just going outside, and I have a big back garden, so going outside when it's gloriously sunny, not so much in winter, but just going outside and breathing for half an hour. It's all very joyful. Big things.
Ah,
Buying myself a bunch of flowers. It's joyful.
I can see that. I can see that. Mine are fake because I don't need to water them. I still love them.
Yeah. No, I
But
used to have an opinion on cut flowers was, well, they're going to die, so why should I bother? Again, not really wanting to take the joy in, because as I got older and as I got the perspective, it's, well, yeah, they were grown anyway, they're going to be cut, they're going to die, whatever, so why don't I just enjoy them while they're there? Enjoy the now. We only have a series of nows. Don't worry about the past. The future hasn't happened yet. All we have is now, and right now those flowers are in front of me and they're going to make me smile when I look at them, so I'm going to enjoy them.
that's right, the meaning that we give
Yeah,
to the things.
yeah.
I love it. Would you recommend one book to people?
Well, I'd recommend my own book, of course, How to Do Low Carb UK Style, which is on all good book places. It contains the Hope Protocol, although when I wrote it, it wasn't called that because I didn't name it that until a couple of years later. But it tells you how to shift your way of eating over to a low carb way of eating. It tells you how to unlock your mind. That's part two. Most people skip part two, which makes my heart sad, but hey, it's there for you. You've then got bits about the differences between the UK and the US, because of course all the information about this comes from the US, which does need interpretation, which is why it's UK style. And also you've got a big chunk of science. For those logically brained people, it's easier to stick to something when you understand the science and you understand why it's doing it. So about 30% of the people that buy the book will read the science section, but for the people that want it, it's there and they love it. So
Amazing, thank you. And I think you've already touched on these in different ways, but how do you take your clients through their own journey of transformation into self-love? Is it by your protocol, Hope Protocol?
yeah. Most clients will work with me for 90 days through my Revive and Transform program. They are given the tools, the Hope protocol, so videos around that, but also just being there with people. It sounds really simple and trite, but having the I'm in your pocket, and you can ask me questions whenever you want. I'm there for cheering squad, supports, questions, whatever. We also have face-to-faces so that we can talk things out, because the only way to learn and progress is when you've got somebody standing with you to help you. So that one-to-one assistance is really taking people through that journey of transformation. And the transformation, as I watch people, as we talk, we question, again, the way we learn, we ask questions, we pick, we query. The people that get the most profit from our relationship are the people that are the most curious. And yes, I'm curious as well. It's my job to be curious and help you dig. But
Yes.
you can't be curious with somebody that doesn't want to know. So those are the people that I really enjoy working with, those curious questioners that really want to get into, well, what's going on here, and know that it's not just about weight loss.
Exactly, that's right. It's about strengthening resilience, right? And strengthening the relationship with yourself.
Absolutely.
Become your
Absolutely.
favorite person, your top priority.
Yeah, absolutely. This building this relationship with ourselves, it is the number one thing that if we don't have that, it is they're saying if you haven't got your health, you haven't got anything. And while I 100% agree with that one, if you don't have knowledge of yourself and you don't love yourself, you haven't got anything. Because without those three things, it's flat, it's boring, it's not joyful, and it's probably one of the reasons why some people aren't here anymore, being dark about that.
Yeah, exactly. And also, as you said before, how are we inspiring the people around us by the things that we're doing, by how we are treating ourselves?
Yeah. I have this concept called ethical selfishness. Selfishness has a really bad rap. In the dictionary, it means doing something to the detriment of another person. But then that has taken on that whole concept of selfishness is coloured by harm. Whereas I believe when you are ethically selfish, we're on a plane, what do they teach you? Put your oxygen mask on before you help other people. Because if you aren't, you cannot give from an empty cup. So if your cup is empty, if you have not got love, joy, contentment, health in your own self, how on earth, as you said, how can you then go and give and give and give and not be depleted and exhausted? So looking after yourself, I believe, is the number one thing we can do, being ethically selfish and as self-centered as we can be, to then be able to give.
Self-centered, I love it.
And again, those words get a bad rap because they are associated with bad selfish people. I was about to say they're associated with people that are detrimenting others, but it's not about detrimenting. It's about empowering and enhancing when we look after
I
ourselves.
love it. That's right. I call it just honoring your feelings and your needs. What's wrong with that, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes I hear people talking about the narcissist really badly, but I challenge that because the narcissist can be very inspiring to certain people to teach them, if they want to learn that lesson, to honor their feelings and their needs.
Unfortunately, narcissists are normally very inspiring because they're very good at getting you to give them your attention. But then where that breaks down is they are not then giving you it back. So it's not a complete compact. So as you say, initially they're incredibly, and what you can then learn from that is, well, what is inspiring me? What am I wanting? because this person is not going to give me what I want, but they look like they are. So what do I actually want? Again, this curiosity, this digging in.
Exactly. That's
And then
right.
when narcissists realize that they don't have a complete relationship in themselves and they want to change, that's where those are the real sizzles, because they realize that, well, yeah, I'm using these tactics to get attention, but then it's not giving me what I need.
No. Yeah.
Few and far between when they do change, but when they do, it's lovely.
It is lovely, yeah. It's not often, by the way.
Yeah, it's not. Most of the time it's, yes, you found yourself a narcissist, recognize you found yourself a narcissist, bail on that relationship. But hey.
Oh, Nicola, thank you for this interview. And by the way, you want to invite people, right, to your free discovery call, 30 minutes, my holistic health exploration session. I'm going to put this link here in the comments for our audience. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
And also, you're also offering 16-page PDF pages on your 10 big mistakes people make regarding diet and exercise, which I also can't wait to read.
Yeah, absolutely. Not everybody is ready to go on and have a full-on conversation with me. So start with my little 16-page report, learn those mistakes that we are given by society to make, and then start to sort yourself out from there.
Perfect, amazing. And I'm also going to share your social media links, your website, yes, so people can find you, because people can find you on https.nicolahoward.uk and low carb in the UK, in the .uk. Okay.
Yeah, my social handles are low carb in the UK everywhere, and my website, as you said, is low carb in the .uk.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Are you in Instagram, in Facebook?
Yeah. Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, X. I'm generally all over the socials. I'm on LinkedIn as well. So whatever people's methods of social connection is, I'm there usually.
Right. Amazing. Okay, Nicola, it's been a pleasure to do this with you. I've been waiting for a while, and finally we made it after the holidays.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely and a privilege to come and have a little platform in your platform.
Sure. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all for today. Thanks again for joining us, and please remember to subscribe and to leave us a review.
Who could you share this episode with that needs to hear this message?
Share this episode and remember that the quality of your relationship determines the quality of your life.
See you on the next episode.